Today we're back on Reddit answering your real estate questions. So the first one, after buying a house as is, we found out that a former owner of the house was a shop teacher and actually built the house from less than desirable materials. They say scrap materials, concrete forms that were improperly used, and random size used wires for electric, and just overall shoddy construction. So they're wondering what legal recourse they have. And I would just tell you, look, first off, I'm not a licensed attorney. Although you might believe that shoddy construction and less than desirable materials were used, the fact of the matter is, no matter who was the general contractor for this project would have had to apply for permits within their local municipality. That local municipality acts as a system of checks and balances to ensure that the property meets the bare minimum residential standards requirements. So look, first off, definitely, once again, not an attorney. However, I will tell you that if you buy a house as is, certainly there goes along with that buyer beware. You know, it's a seller's market and you probably had to make an as-is offer to have an opportunity to even secure a contract on this home. But look, you can't put milk back in the bottle. Unfortunately, if this property had permits, if those permits were closed out and an occupancy permit was generated, and you bought the home as is, guess what? You now own it and all the problems associated there with it. The next question, kids in college, but upsizing homes. And it goes on to say, a lot of relatives and friends of ours are upsizing their homes to two-story homes and even ranches just as their kids are in high school or going off to college. Why and what is the reasoning? Well, look, maybe financially now they can afford the house of their dreams. But guess what? Also due to the pandemic, they have the ability to work from home. Their home is not just their home, it's also their office and or offices, right? You know, there might be an opportunity now, that they might want to have extra space, maybe to Airbnb out, some of the space in the home. There are a myriad of different reasons why we see this, especially going up in vertical, right? Because it is significantly cheaper to build up than it is to build out, right? The cost of concrete and rebar, steel materials to go wider is certainly more expensive. So there's a reason why people are increasing their square footage by going vertically. Because look, if their kids are going off to school, maybe they have the end in sight. Is this the home for us, right? Is this our forever home? If so, what are all the things that we want in it? And guess what? Your home oftentimes is the largest investment you'll make in your entire life, right? So it makes sense, to stretch yourselves a little bit financially if you know you're going to be in that home and you want to be comfortable over the next several years with the end in sight. What's the end? Well, let's go ahead and maximize our square footage, right? So that it's more appealing to the masses when we actually go to sell, maybe when we're actually ready to retire. Next question, trying to sell unsuccessfully. I'm trying to sell my beachfront condo in Galveston, Texas. Is there anything I can do to increase visibility or get some bites, such as SEO, advertising, etc.? It's been on the market for in excess of 60 days. The real estate agent just canceled and relisted with a slightly lower price to get back on top of the listing. So look, here's the deal. You want to know the truth? There's no secret to this. Everything comes down to two things. One, price, and two, marketing. So an incremental price decrease isn't going to solve the problem. So many times sellers are like, well, maybe we'll reduce it maybe $5,000. How about $25,000 to $35,000? That will move the needle, because I assure you, right? I'm sure your agents, doing the right things are positioning this property all over the internet where 85+% of the consumers actually seek out the opportunities to find a house or a condo, in this case, just like yours, right? The sign's either in the yard or it's in front of the window. So it's all over the internet. They're probably doing open houses. They're probably doing targeted Facebook ads. They're probably doing, postcard campaigns and just about everything. It all comes down to two things, marketing and price. So if the marketing is tight, it can only be one thing, and that's price. And you as a seller need to get realistic right now with where the market is. I don't know exactly how Galveston is, but look, Texas in general was one of the most overheated markets in the US. And guess what? It's just taking a step backwards right now. I know my friends in Austin, Texas, for example, are down 6 to 8% equity year over year right now. So I'm sure the same is true in Galveston, Texas. And look, a $5,000 haircut to the list price probably isn't going to do it. Try 20, 30, maybe $40,000 until you all of a sudden increase your foot traffic through the property, collect good feedback, and you'll know that you hit the sweet spot. Next question, permits for remodeling. I get this all the time. I'm doing a significant amount of remodeling on a large house, including fully finishing the basement with new electric, for that space. And my contractor, it goes on to say, hadn't pulled permits, but had started the work anyways. If I call the building department, to pull permits now, will they want to see the plans, or would they be fine taking a different approach at looking at this job? So look, here's the real reality of the situation. When you get into finishing basements, less than 50% of finished basements we typically see on our end actually were permitted. Why? Because look, there's a lot of red tape with the municipality. There's money in permitting fees and oversight. And guess what? The biggest one, ding, 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 you're going to increase your taxes, right? And most people don't want the municipality to know that they just finished 1,525 square foot in their basement only to have their taxes get reassessed exponentially more, meaning that they have to write a much bigger check. So it's not that problematic in the real estate world. We routinely know that we go into buying a house with a finished basement, not fully always knowing and understanding if the house was fully permitted or not. So there's probably a reason why they kind of went down this path. But look, if the contractor's already started, I think it'd be very difficult to kind of go backwards here, because you're going to have to now go ahead and engineer everything, get everything submitted. It's going to be a lot of money, a lot of energy. You might just want to make sure that this contractor is ultimately licensed, bonded, and insured, and that they do a really high quality job. It's really not going to affect you on your resale, and it's going to keep you outside of the tax assessor's office from gouging you yet again.